Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of JC Lee, MD, out of the Ivory Tower. I'm your host, Jonathan Jaha Lee, a quadruple board certified child and adolescent psychiatrist, as well as a fellowship trainee at the Temerity Center for Therapeutic Brain Intervention in Toronto, from which I graduated a couple years back. Well, on this portion of my channel, my goal is to really digest or pre-digest some of the Ivory Tower academician kind of information that is shored up in that proverbial ivory tower and render it sort of palatable or digestible for those of you who are on the outside of academia, as I now am. Well, in terms of, the question of TMS or transcranial magnetic stimulation, a lot of times people ask me, is there a particular form of TMS that is better than the others? Whether it be high frequency left-sided treatment, the standard 37.5 minutes delivered to the left dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, or theta burst treatment, the standard 3 minutes, sort of 600 pulses to the left dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, or low frequency right-sided treatment, which is 1,200 pulses to the right, or sequential bilateral, which is both the right and the left, or what's called priming low frequency stimulation to the right, which Fitzgerald and colleagues first published about in 2009, and Lefaucheur and colleagues published thereafter in 2014. Well, it turns out, according to Brunoni and colleagues in 2017 and their systematic review and meta-analysis published in JAMA Psychiatry, that all of these different approaches have been shown to be substantially better than sham. In fact, the odds ratios of outperforming sham or being efficacious range from about 2.5 times to about 4 times the likelihood that these interventions were better than sham. So what does that actually mean for us in the day-to-day clinic? For those of us who are interested in getting TMS and are interested in optimizing our outcomes, there really seems to be no clear benefit, better or worse, in terms of the different options that are available. At least currently, the FDA has cleared both theta burst stimulation, the 3-minute treatment, and high frequency left-sided treatment, or the 37.5 minute treatment. But these two often tend to be associated with greater, difficulties in tolerability. Often with theta burst, there's that sound that comes along for the ride, which I find in and of itself kind of obnoxious, even if the sort of tension or muscle twitching isn't that bad. And high frequency left-sided treatment certainly sounds like. And in fact, in the literature, many people have commented since its inception that low frequency right-sided treatment that sounds like is much more tolerable than the alternative varieties. And so this paper, in my opinion, really brings up a lot of important questions that were subsequently elaborated on by Moots and colleagues in 2019 in the British Medical Journal, which I'll follow up with a review of as well. But the party line, at least as far as 2017 was concerned, was that in looking at the odds ratios, there really was no substantial difference in terms of efficacy when you looked at all of these 5 different varietals: high frequency left, theta burst treatment, low frequency right, sequential bilateral, and priming low frequency right-sided treatment. And I'll definitely be talking about Fitzgerald et al.'s paper in 2009 down the road. So all of that to say, if you are faced with the question, or the option, I should say, of choosing between different stimulation patterns, really anyone that is available is likely to be as good as the other, but there may be some differences in terms of tolerability, at least in my experience. Certainly low frequency right-sided treatment tends to be quite tolerable. And as you'll find in my subsequent review with Moots and colleagues, it actually may be slightly more efficacious than standard high frequency left-sided treatment. All of that to say, until next time, love yourself and be well.